Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them, and they should get what they want. Thank you friends for subscribing to the channel, and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story, entitled Customers Want to Hog My Tables but Keep Tab at Bar. I refuse that BS. Shut them up with a taste of the real world and embarrass the SH out of them. The second story, accused of drinking on the job despite not drinking. Coworker tries to write up OP, only to be dismissed by the manager the next day. The third story, my former boss got karma payback from the universe. The first story is, want to hog my tables but not order anything from me? That doesn't fly. I work at a Wings Beers Sports several nights a week, on top of my 9 to 5. Tonight was my first night back to work in about a month, thanks to a royally screwed up scheduling error that put half our staff out of work for 2 weeks, and the other half on solid. After the scheduling was fixed, I downloaded some weird upper respiratory infection with a free add-on of an ear infection, and a 15-day trial of insomnia. Our restaurant is 2 stories, with a full bar on each floor. A big hockey game was on, plus NFL playoffs, so we were expected to get busy. When closing, however, the upper level is cut first, usually around 10 or 11 p.m. There's me, 3 other servers, and a bartender up top. We get cut at 10ish, after the big games are over, and the crowd is thinning substantially thanks to an ice storm heading our way. About 20 minutes before we get cut, a group of adults with their 10-plus teenage kids amble up the stairs and stand right in the middle of the bar area. Completely bypasses the host stand, throwing our rotation out of whack. The ringleader dad, RD, of the clan, stops me as I'm booking it through the crowd with a tray of heavy wings and beer and sports. RD, excuse me, miss. I stop, visibly irritated and flustered, shifting my tray and force a fake smile. Me, yes? RD, hi, we need a table for 30. My jaw drops and I look around at his posse, praying he's kidding. I gesture to the entire top floor dining area that we do not have the available seating currently, and that he needs to go downstairs and put his name in with the hostess. He shrugs me off, mumbling something about we will just stand, and steps up to the bar to order drinks for himself and his cronies, plus their Stepford wives. All expensive liquor cocktails, high-end beers, and I notice they're all dressed as if they came from some fancy gala. They leave the tabs open, relevant later. I had 4 tables in my section, the smallest of the 4 upstairs, which I didn't mind due to still feeling like crap from this cold. I think to myself that I'm glad all my tables are full, as I don't want to deal with these creeps. Karma is a B. As if by magic, all 4 of my tables wolf down their food and are ready to cash out within 20 minutes. RD and his snobby group are still standing. I purposely refrain from bussing my tables. We don't have bussers, praying they don't try to sit. Welp, RD snags a table and starts moving it and the other 3 together, creating a long table for the adults. I don't know where the teenage kids are at this point, nor do I care. I suck it up, thinking that rich-looking people like this might actually leave some good tips. I go over to bring menus, as they're still sipping drinks they got from the bar. Before I can hand them their menus, RD informs me that they won't be ordering food, are just there to drink, and will continue to order from their bar tab, all while sitting at all of my tables. No? I stand there for a second trying to formulate a response, when RD's Joan Rivers look-alike wife snaps her fingers at me, and has the nerve to ask me to get her a tall Stella, and place it on her bar tab. Me, I'm sorry, but unless you open a tab with me at these tables, you can't sit here. You can close out your tab at the bar and start a new one with me. Another wife, possibly Snooki's sister, looks at me in disbelief. Snooki, what do you mean? This is your job. You need to do your job. Me, no, my job is to turn tables. If you sit here, I won't get any more tables, meaning I won't be making any money. If you keep your tab open with the bar, I'll be running all your drinks while the bartender gets all the tips. There are several seats open at the bar if you want to keep your tab open there, but by sitting at all 4 of my tables, I'm gonna have to ask you to open a new tab with me. Silence. A man in his 50s snorts at me and says that maybe they should go to a better bar, and if I needed to pay my bills that badly, then maybe I should have gone to college and got a real job. Me, actually sir, I do go to college, got my degree, and work a 9 to 5 as an engineer. Unfortunately, college loans are a lot more expensive now. Unlike back in the 50s when a full year's tuition was less than $2,000. I actually need this job, along with my real job, in order to pay off my loans and rent and insurance and living expenses. But thank you for your concern. The entire group is quiet, and I look back and notice that not only is the bartender listening, but so is every guest at his bar, and several full tables. Visibly flustered, the older man hangs his head, and Joan Rivers has a deer in the headlights look. Joan, it's really that expensive? Me, Yep, my parents could not afford to send me to school, so I'm doing this on my own. By the looks of your kids, I'm assuming you're getting ready to send them to college. This is what they get to look forward to. I close my server's book and walk away, leaving them in complete silence. About 10 minutes later, I walk past their table, where RD flags me down, and sheepishly explains he's closed the bar tab and would like to open another with me. I oblige and bring them each several rounds more, staying well past my cut time. By this time, they leave. It's now midnight, 2 hours after I'm cut. They tipped 15%. Obviously, my speech on overwhelming student debt didn't sway them, but if they come back, I won't be serving them. The second story is, accuse me of drinking on the job? The one person that doesn't drink. Really, B? Some context. I was working at this restaurant. I'd been there about a year, and at the time of this story, I had been promoted to a part-time supervisor, on top of being a server, about 2 weeks before. I only mention this because I think it's what fueled this accusation. I also don't drink like basically ever, and a good portion of my coworkers and employees know this fact. Now, there is another supervisor, let's call her Super B, SB. We haven't gotten along basically the entire time I've been working there, but we pretty much avoided each other. Though now I was a supervisor, she'd been extra B towards me. I may be a little biased in how B she was because we really rubbed each other the wrong way, but most people did not like her. On to the story. It was a typical evening. I was coming from school to go to work. On this particular day, I was feeling tired, so I stopped to grab a coffee to keep me going throughout my shift. Not something I normally do. So I head into work, pop my coffee on the server's drink shelf, and head to the back to get changed. When I come back out, SB is hovering around the drink shelf. Not normal, but not necessarily concerning, so I brush it off and head up to the front. Check my section, chat to the host for a moment, do a lap around the restaurant, and come back into the kitchen to have a mouthful of coffee. I get to the drink shelf and realize my coffee has been moved, which is weird, because there are only about 2 to 3 other drinks on the shelf. But again, I brush it off. About half an hour has passed. I got a couple of tables just doing my thing, taking a sip of coffee here and there when one of my coworkers and good personal friends, let's call her H, comes up to me and tells me that SB keeps sniffing my coffee like it's suspicious. WTF? So H and I keep an eye on what SB does around the drink stand from here on. Lo and behold, within 10 minutes, H says she saw SB take a sip of my coffee, and actually had another coworker, one of SB's friends, try my coffee because she thought it tasted weird. H tells me this and I dump my coffee out because I don't know what SB is up to, and there are random people trying my drink. SB keeps a hawk eye on me for the rest of the night, and H notes this as well. Fast forward to the end of the night. I'm cashing out with SB, and the following conversation goes something along the lines of, SB, so what was in your coffee today? Me, coffee? SB, well, it smelled like there was alcohol, so I have reason to believe you were drinking on the job, so I'm gonna write you up. At this point, I'm completely shocked and taken aback. I just look at this B with a what the actual F look. Me, what? SB, I believe you were drinking on the job, so I'm going to write you up. I've already called our GM and he gave me the go-ahead. Me, I don't drink, like ever. SB, you can't prove that. Then she begins filling out the write-up form. Me, I'm not signing that. SB, yes you are. Me, nope, not happening. You're pulling this accusation out of your A. If GM really believes what's going on, I will sign it with him tomorrow. But right now, I'm going home. So I get changed and leave, all while SB is huffing and puffing, and I assume calling our GM. When I get out to my truck, I call my GM and tell him what happened, that from my point of view as well as what H had told me, and how she would back me up. Apparently, SB had told him that she watched me pour alcohol into my coffee, after getting it from Tim's, and she could smell it in my drink and on my breath. He was livid when he found out that she'd actually tried a drink that she thought had alcohol in it, and involved another server by having her try it. I was pretty mad about this too, and so much so that I told our GM I would go have my blood tested for an alcohol content level, but was told that was not necessary, and we'd talk about it tomorrow. Cue the next day, I came into work expecting an SH storm, but was greeted by the GM as well as the assistant manager. I'm basically told that no actions are being taken whether I was drinking on the job or not. Apparently, GM was so livid at SB at the lying and the unprofessional manner she attempted to handle things with that he dismissed her claims. Both GM and AM know me pretty well, and there's also the fact that I have put a drop of alcohol in my system, while in the building whether on or off the clock, so they have absolutely no reason to believe that there was any foul play on my part. It was nice to have my managers on my side though. SB just had a stern talking to, though karma got that B in the end. And the last story is, deny me the promotion that I was promised? Good luck on keeping the account. This happened in the early 2000s. Back then I was working for a computer company. I won't name it, but I can tell you it's big and blue. So the company was also doing some BPO work, both internally and externally. I was working in an account, which outsourced internally. Basically, the same company in another country, A, would outsource certain processes to itself but in another country, B. Due to the currency exchange, A could have B do the job cheaper. The difference would be profit. So I started from the bottom, from an entry-level position, and got to a position where I was doing the KPI reports. These reports are sent to the main comp A and the client. From this report, they found out things like productivity, faults, how much to charge the clients, penalties if any, and data for future projections. Now, there are only two people who knew how to do the reports. One is a 55-year-old guy, let's call him Bruce, and me. Bruce was just waiting for retirement. Every time we connected online to discuss and compile the data for the report, he would tell me on what he plans to do once he retires. Sometimes he would complain and say, "Just these bees wait till I retire." Otherwise, he was a nice guy. I had asked Bruce once he retires who will replace him. He told me that management in A have decided to just promote me to his level and have B hire a replacement for me. To say I was shocked was an understatement, because it meant I would report to operations in A, and part of my KPI would be to visit A twice a year for a week at a time. So after about a year and a half of doing the KPI report, Bruce announced his retirement during one of the weekly business review, WBR. They also announced that his replacement would be announced on the next WBR. So the next week came and I was in the WBR. The moment came when they were going to announce Bruce's replacement, and it wasn't me. It was some lady that B had hired externally. I was shocked. I called the operations manager for A, let's call him TB, and asked him why I wasn't selected. TB told me that the local manager in B, let's call him ON, said that he had another candidate in mind, and since I still reported to B, he should have final say in my internal transfer and promotion. I later also found out that the lady they chose was a friend of ON's. They hired her externally just for the job, a job she apparently had no experience doing. I immediately tendered my 24 hours notice. One good thing is that TB did fight for me to get 2 months severance. They did call me a few times asking to train the lady. Told them that since I no longer work for them, they would have to hire me as an external contractor. I pulled a ridiculous out of my A and told them that's my hourly rate. They stopped calling me after that. I got a new job 2 weeks later. I'm writing this all because last week I was at a dinner party and met a guy who used to work there. We got to talking and he told me that Owen's wife got cancer 2 years later. He quit his job to take care of his wife full time. She passed away a year. Apparently he stepped on a lot of toes because nobody at the office actually went to her funeral. The account I worked on went into a slow decline and was shut down after 1 year. Without an accurate KPI report, they didn't know how much to charge the client, and when penalties were handed, they didn't know how to counter them. As for ON, I heard he tried to reapply back to B, but the company is now headed by a guy who knew of his toxic management, how he mistreated people and they politely declined him. Also, his track record of destroying the account was well known. He's currently working as a level 1 admin in a call center. Hit the like button to support the channel and subscribe. Have a good day.